You really should give up the profession entirely as a matter of principle.
Richard Boone, a respected actor known for his versatility and depth, became disillusioned with Hollywood after playing one iconic role, Paladin in Have Gun, Will Travel. While the role catapulted him to stardom and cemented his place in television history, it also trapped him in a repetitive cycle that stifled his creativity. Despite his broad acting range and theater background, Boone grew frustrated with the limitations of television, especially the formulaic nature of his role as the cultured gunslinger. The role, which defined his career, became a double-edged sword. Boone's resentment of Hollywood grew as he felt more like a product than an artist, leading to a deepened disillusionment with an industry he believed prioritized profit over genuine artistic expression. Early life and formative years. Richard Boone's story begins in the heart of Los Angeles, California, on June 18, 1917. Born to a well-established family, Boone's early life was shaped by an eclectic mix of influences that would later inform his approach to acting. His father, Kirk E. Boone, was a prosperous corporate lawyer with a background that could be traced back to the early American frontier. His ancestors, including Squire Boone, the younger brother of the legendary frontiersman Daniel Boone, had played a significant role in American history. His mother, Cecile Lillian Beckerman, came from a family with Russian Jewish roots, an influence that added a rich cultural layer to his upbringing. While the Boone family was wealthy and enjoyed a comfortable lifestyle, Richard's early environment was one marked by contrasts. The Boone home was not one simply shaped by privilege and material wealth. It was a place where intellectual and artistic pursuits were encouraged. His father's disciplined, traditional outlook often clashed with his mother's more free-spirited, artistic inclinations, creating an environment where Richard was exposed to both the world of the mind and the world of creative expression. Growing up, Richard felt the tug of two powerful worlds, one rooted in history and structure, the other in creativity and art. As a child in Los Angeles, Boone had no clear inclination toward becoming an actor. Instead, he focused his energies on excelling in academics and sports. He was particularly drawn to football, a sport that taught him not only about physical endurance, but also about strategy, teamwork, and the value of persistence. His time as a football player under the guidance of Coach Vic Cameron at Hoover High School in Glendale, California, played a pivotal role in shaping Boone's character. The tough, physical demands of the sport would remain a defining feature of his personality throughout his life, and the skills he honed on the field would later help him portray tough, determined characters on the screen. Pursuing new horizons, from college to physical labor, Boone's academic journey was brief and unconventional. After high school, he enrolled at Stanford University, one of the nation's most prestigious schools, but soon found that the structured, traditional college life did not satisfy his deeper aspirations. Seeking a more tangible experience, Boone dropped out in 1937, choosing to explore various occupations. His experiences were diverse, from working as an oil rigger to dabbling in painting and writing. He even took up boxing, testing his physical and mental endurance in the ring. These years were crucial in developing Boone's work ethic and resilience, shaping him into the multifaceted individual who would later take on some of the most complex roles in Hollywood. The crucible of war, World War II, and its impact. In 1941, as tensions around the world escalated, Richard Boone enlisted in the U.S. Navy. Serving in World War II, he became an aviation ordnance man and tail gunner on the famed TBM Avenger torpedo bombers, a position that placed him in the thick of combat in the Pacific Theater. As part of a crew flying dangerous bombing missions, Boone's job required him to shoot down enemy aircraft from the back of the plane while navigating through enemy fire. For 4 years, He served on 3 different ships, facing life-threatening challenges that forever altered his view of the world. The war left deep emotional scars, as it did for many veterans, but it also shaped Boone's understanding of life and death, duty and sacrifice. His time in combat sharpened his appreciation for life's fragility and the complexities of human existence, insights that would later permeate his acting. Upon his return from the war, like many veterans, Boone had to start over. The GI Bill provided him with a golden opportunity, covering the cost of higher education and opening doors that had previously been closed to him. Discovering acting, from the GI Bill to the actor's studio. Although Boone had not initially considered acting as a career, the GI Bill offered him a chance to explore new possibilities. He enrolled in the prestigious Actors Studio in New York City, which was home to some of the most talented actors of the era. There, he studied under Sanford Meisner, one of the most respected acting coaches, whose philosophy emphasized emotional truth and instinctual reactions over memorizing lines. This approach resonated deeply with Boone, shaping his methodical approach to acting. It was clear from the outset that Boone was no ordinary student. His rigorous dedication to his craft would help him stand out in an industry filled with talented individuals. In addition to his acting training, Boone took classes in movement with Martha Graham, a renowned choreographer whose techniques focused on the connection between body and emotion. These lessons gave Boone a unique physicality that would later enhance his performances on screen and stage. He wasn't just an actor, he was a complete artist, committed to understanding the full scope of his craft. It was these experiences that helped transform him from a raw talent into a powerful, dynamic performer. Without the GI Bill, Boone's path to becoming a professional actor might have been more uncertain, but with its assistance, he found the means to build a new life. A Broadway debut, stepping into the spotlight. By 1947, Boone was ready to take on Broadway. His debut came in the Greek tragedy Medea, which was directed by the legendary Sir John Gielgud and featured a powerhouse performance by Judith Anderson. Although Boone's role as a soldier was small, the production itself was anything but. Medea ran for 214 performances, earning critical acclaim and proving that Boone had the ability to thrive in the competitive world of theater. The experience of working alongside such esteemed actors as Anderson gave him invaluable insights into the demands of live performance. Boone's time on Broadway laid the foundation for what would become a long and successful career in the performing arts. Following Medea, Boone's career trajectory continued to rise. In 1948, he tackled a more challenging role in Shakespeare's Macbeth. The production tested his range as an actor, forcing him to grapple with one of the most demanding playwrights in history. He continued his theatrical exploration, appearing in The Man in 1950, a drama directed by Martin Ritt that delved into themes of morality and personal conflict, subjects that would often resonate in Boone's future work. Hollywood beckons, from character actor to leading man. Boone's transition from theater to film came in 1950 when he signed a 7-year contract with 20th Century Fox. Hollywood, always hungry for fresh talent, recognized the gravitas Boone brought to his roles, particularly his commanding presence and distinctive voice. His film debut came in 1951 in Halls of Montezuma, a World War II drama directed by Louis Milestone. Boone played a military officer, Lieutenant Colonel Gililphian, in a film that served not only as a war narrative, but also as a recruitment tool for the U.S. Marine Corps. While his role was part of an ensemble cast, Boone's performance stood out, showing early glimpses of his ability to bring depth to any character he portrayed. Following this, Boone was cast in The Robe, 1953, where he portrayed Pontius Pilate in a biblical epic that starred Richard Burton. His performance as pilot was one of the most memorable aspects of the film. Rather than playing Pilot as a heartless villain, Boone portrayed a man burdened by guilt and internal conflict. His subtle yet powerful performance, especially the moment when Pilate unconsciously asks for water after symbolically washing his hands of Jesus' fate, marked him as an actor capable of bringing emotional complexity to his roles. The film's massive success cemented Boone's reputation as a rising star in Hollywood. But it was his performance in Vicky, 1953, a noir thriller that showcased Boone's ability to embody darker, more disturbed characters. As Lieutenant Ed Cornell, a detective fixated on a murder case, Boone brought an unsettling intensity to the role. His portrayal of a man descending into obsession elevated Vicky from a simple crime story into a psychological study of a man on the edge. This role marked Boone's mastery in playing men who grappled with their own moral dilemmas and inner demons. Television breakthrough, Medic, and a new era of drama. In the mid-1950s, Richard Boone's career took a new direction with his role in Medic, a groundbreaking television series that aired on NBC from 1954 to 1956. Boone not only played the lead role of Dr. Conrad Steiner, a compassionate yet complex physician, but also served as the series' narrator. Medic was notable for its unflinching portrayal of medical cases, tackling issues such as life-or-death decisions, moral dilemmas, and the personal struggles of doctors and patients. The show's raw, realistic approach to medicine was ahead of its time, and Boone's thoughtful, serious portrayal of Dr. Steiner became an instant hit with audiences. While Medic was a success, it marked a turning point in Boone's career. The stress and exhaustion of playing a demanding role in a physically and emotionally draining show took its toll on him, and he began to feel the weight of a system that often demanded more than an actor could give. His growing disillusionment with the pressures of fame and the limitations of the roles offered to him would later contribute to his decision to step away from the spotlight and relocate to Hawaii, seeking a more peaceful and fulfilling life. Medic, a groundbreaking medical drama. Boone's early foray into television came in the form of Medic, a groundbreaking medical drama that aired in 1954. The show stood out for its bold, realistic portrayal of medical issues that were seldom discussed on television at the time. Instead of relying on studio sets, Medic chose to film on location at the Los Angeles County Hospital, providing an authentic backdrop for the stories it told. The crew worked closely with real doctors to ensure medical accuracy, which was a departure from the fictionalized medical practices commonly depicted on TV. The show touched on heavy topics such as mental illness, autism, infertility, and the devastating effects of atomic bomb attacks, a reflection of the Cold War fears that permeated society during that era. One particularly memorable episode, Flash of Darkness, depicted the aftermath of an atomic explosion and showed doctors treating victims in the wake of such a catastrophic event. This was a subject that hit close to home during the 1950s, when the threat of nuclear war loomed large. This innovative approach to storytelling not only made Medic ahead of its time, but also cemented Boone's reputation as a serious actor. Boone played Dr. Paul Steiner, a quiet yet compassionate physician who became the heart of the series. His portrayal was grounded in realism, capturing both the professional skill of a doctor and the emotional depth required to care for patients in extreme circumstances. The show's very first episode, White is the Color, told the harrowing story of a pregnant woman diagnosed with terminal leukemia. The depiction of this heart-wrenching scenario was a bold move for television in the mid-1950s, as it was rarely seen on screen. Yet, Medic was not afraid to explore the harsh realities of life and death, demonstrating Boone's ability to bring gravity to such difficult subject matter. Challenges of television. Boone's discontent with the medium. While Boone's work on Medic was groundbreaking, he quickly became disillusioned with the television industry. He took his craft seriously and poured his heart into each performance, but the fast-paced nature of television production began to wear on him. Television shows, especially in the 1950s and 1960s, were often produced under tight deadlines, with episodes being churned out quickly to meet broadcasting schedules. Boone, who was known for his dedication to his craft, grew frustrated with the process. He believed that television often prioritized speed over quality, rushing to get episodes on air without allowing time for the refinement and depth that could elevate the work. One instance that particularly irritated Boone occurred when NBC canceled an episode of Medic featuring a cesarean section birth, fearing it would be too controversial. Boone saw such decisions as a reflection of the network's priorities, which he believed were more focused on avoiding controversy and maintaining the status quo than on pushing boundaries or creating thought-provoking content. These frustrations led to Boone's growing sense of alienation from the medium he had helped elevate. Despite these frustrations, Boone remained committed to Medic and worked closely with the show's creator, James Moser, to maintain the high standards the series had set. Boone was passionate about ensuring the show remained true to its realistic depiction of medicine, and he fought for creative control, but often found himself clashing with the commercial constraints of television. Have Gun, Will Travel, redefining the Western hero. After Medic, Boone found a new creative outlet in the role of Paladin, the cultured gunslinger in Have Gun, Will Travel. The show, which aired from 1957 to 1963, would go on to become one of the most successful westerns of its time. But it was Paladin himself, played by Boone, that set it apart from other Western heroes. Unlike the typical rough-and-tumble cowboys of the era, Paladin was a complex, intellectual character who was driven by a strict personal code of honor. He dressed in tailored suits, lived in luxury at San Francisco's Hotel Carlton, and was well-versed in culture, often quoting poetry and enjoying fine wine. Paladin was a man of contrasts. He was both a refined, intellectual figure and a lethal gunfighter who could quickly spring into action when necessary. His true motivations went beyond money. Though he charged clients $1,000 per job, Paladin often took on cases for free when he believed the cause was just. His calling card, a black card with a white knight chess piece and the words "Have Gun, Will Travel," symbolized his approach to justice: strategic, calculated, and always in control. This depiction of a Western hero was unlike anything seen before, and Boone's portrayal brought a level of sophistication and nuance to the genre that had previously been absent. Paladin was a man of intelligence and reason, preferring to use his mind over brute force. Unlike the typical cowboy who solved problems with a gun, Paladin worked through situations with his intellect, resorting to violence only when absolutely necessary. This approach gave Have Gun, Will Travel a sense of depth and complexity that set it apart from other westerns of its time, which often relied on action over substance. Behind the camera, Boone's influence as a director. Although Boone's role as Paladin made him a household name, it was his behind-the-scenes contributions that truly set Have Gun, Will Travel apart. Boone's frustration with the limitations of television led him to take on a greater creative role in the series, and he began directing multiple episodes. As a trained Broadway and method actor, Boone had always been drawn to the art of performance, and directing allowed him to have more control over the show's tone, pacing, and character development. He directed 28 episodes of Have Gun, Will Travel, stepping in whenever the main director, Andrew McLaglen, was unable to handle the full workload. Boone's directing style focused heavily on character development, ensuring that the emotional weight of each story was given as much importance as the action. This approach helped elevate the series, making it more than just another Western. It became a show that explored deep questions of justice, morality, and power. Boone also collaborated with some of the industry's top writers, including Gene Roddenberry, who would later go on to create Star Trek. Together, they crafted stories that were not only entertaining but also thought-provoking, tackling issues of right and wrong, power dynamics, and the human condition. Boone's ability to shape the series from both in front of and behind the camera was instrumental in its success. Frustration with television, Boone's desire for change. Despite the success of Have Gun, Will Travel, Boone began to feel trapped by his role as Paladin. Although the show made him a star, he grew weary of playing the same character over and over again. As an actor trained in the theater and accustomed to a wide range of roles, Boone found the repetition of Paladin's character limiting. He compared returning to the role each season to drawing water from a well that kept getting deeper. And at one point, he likened it to a boxer who was still fighting, but had lost his edge. By the time the show ended in 1963, Boone was ready for a change. His next project, The Richard Boone Show, was an anthology series that gave him the opportunity to play a different role each week. This change was exactly what he needed to reinvigorate his career. The show gave him the creative freedom he had been seeking and allowed him to explore a wider range of characters and stories. A larger commentary on the television industry. Boone's frustrations with television were not limited to his own career. In interviews, he openly criticized the television industry for its focus on profits over quality. He believed that many shows were nothing more than recycled ideas designed to make money, rather than fresh, innovative works of art. Boone's discontent with the system was evident in his work, and he consistently pushed for deeper, more meaningful content. He warned that television was heading in a dangerous direction, one where entertainment would become increasingly formulaic and devoid of substance. His concerns would prove prophetic as, by the 1970s, television faced growing competition from new forms of entertainment. Boone also felt that the Hollywood system treated actors as mere commodities, placing more value on the business side of things than on artistic integrity. Even though he was a star, he often felt like just another name on a contract. His frustration with the industry led him to take a stand with The Richard Boone Show, where he gave actors the opportunity to play a variety of characters, breaking away from the constraints of typecasting. Boone's legacy in television and film. Richard Boone's career was a testament to his dedication to the craft of acting and his desire to bring depth and authenticity to his roles. From his groundbreaking work in Medic to his iconic portrayal of Paladin in Have Gun, Will Travel, Boone's legacy has left an indelible mark on television. His ability to push the boundaries of what television could achieve, combined with his frustrations with the medium, helped shape the way future generations of actors and creators approached storytelling. Boone was not just a television star, he was an artist who was constantly seeking ways to grow and evolve. Whether through his acting, directing, or his outspoken criticisms of the industry, Richard Boone's influence on the television landscape is undeniable. His legacy is one of creativity, intelligence, and a refusal to settle for mediocrity, making him one of the most complex and admired figures in Hollywood history.